Hello YouTube, Facebook, whomever is watching this. Do a little video showing one of the reasons I actually got this Fox body in the first place. Obviously Fox bodies are a well-proven platform, so that is one of the reasons. The car was pretty straight, and obviously I had a plan of doing the 4G63 with the power glide and all that. Didn't know which platform I was going to run with. This one came up and saw it, took a look at it, and thought, okay, I can work with this one. So originally I was looking for something that basically had like a 3/4 chassis, a little import car or something like that. Is kind of what I was leaning towards initially. And they're all over in Florida and they want some money for them, pretty decent money for them. Hard to say quality and all that, but regardless of that, I ended up with this. Came up locally, and I went and looked at it and looked at the body and thought, well, it's straight enough that I could throw some paint on this. I've painted a lot of cars in my time, and don't really care to do too much more painting in my life, but if I have to, I have to. I was pleasantly surprised with this car that when I did a little test spot that I could basically scuff and buff it and make it look real nice. So today what we're going to do a little video, and I'll kind of go through a couple of the steps of taking this thing from its current state to making it look a little better. First and foremost, I'm not done with it, but I've got it pretty close with the front clip, and I'm gonna move on to the remainder of the car. Fiberglass seems to always take a little bit more to get it to buff out real nice. Metal, I think the heat in the metal absorbs differently, so the paint it comes back a little quicker. Fiberglass seems to take a little longer, so the hood seems to take a little bit more. I haven't done the bumpers yet. There's a couple of chips in the front bumper, so I'm either gonna repaint that or see about fixing the chips and then sand and buff it. There is also one chip in the other fender, but I just wanted to see if it was worth my time to do it. And I'll show you real quick, since I have done a part of it. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up as well as you can see it in person. I'll try to get some angles to show it and show what it currently is, and show you what I'm going for in the final. So as of right now, this is, so when you look across here and you look closely, you'll see a lot of orange peel in that paint, and that's the way this whole paint job has been. There's a little dust on it, obviously. Normally I wouldn't do this. I'd clean it before touching it, but you can see a lot of orange peel in this paint, and then the same on the back. It looks good, in kind of in camera pictures, but you can see it's just not really shiny. It's got, it's hard to tell the orange peel, I guess, in this, but hopefully you can see it on your screen. So that's the roof, that's the trunk lid. The door is kind of the same situation. Now we'll move on to what I've actually worked on already. I think it's pretty evident the clarity of this and how flat and smooth and shiny this is versus the remainder of it. It has come out pretty good. You can see obviously the reflection is real clear and real crisp. I still probably need to go over this a bit more because I could see some little scratches from the 3000, or maybe didn't get all the 2000 out of it. But I'm not trying to make a show car here. I just want to make it look good for video and people that see it. I know it's going to get beat up, so not getting crazy. But if you look at the clarity of the reflection there versus, let's just see if it shows up the same, but yeah, the clarity of the reflection there and there, like it's pretty evident that it's not nearly as nice. I don't know if we can kind of go side by side here. Right on the edge, you can see it still needs to be buffed right there. You can see where I've sanded on the door. You can see the actual orange peel real clear right there. And then this is how flat it is and shiny. And this is dusty. I hadn't touched this. I had done that early and then it got dust all over it. But I don't know if it's very clear in the video. Maybe it is. But I think this is very clear. Anyway, this is what we're gonna do. The way this works is you go over this with whatever you feel comfortable with. Well, let me just say, some people will start with like an 800 grit and flatten it down if they have a lot of clear on it. I don't know what the clear, you know, how thick the clear is on this one because I bought the car like this, so I don't know how much clear is on it. So far, it's been good. I started with 1,000 on this car and just flattened it down real quick with 1,000 with a pad and just basically a folded sheet of paper. And then went to 1,500, 2,000, and then the 3,000 pad. I'm probably gonna spend a little bit more time on the rest of it with the 2,000 before going to the pad and really going over it with the pad. Some guys will use the little orbital, which I know is probably a little quicker, but I don't have that and I don't use it anyway. I really never have. I figure I can get it just as clean without it. And so I'm gonna work with that. And yes, it is cold. It shows 66 degrees in South Texas today, but if you live down here with this humidity, you'll realize that 66, it may seem warm everywhere else, but here it can actually be cold. So the forecast is for rain this weekend. I've done a bunch of things to the car. Like I said in my last video, I had a big boost leak that really caused me to not run really well. So I have literally just left the car alone. I haven't done anything to it other than just fix the boost leak and just a couple little maintenance things. And I have just left it sit. And so I think best way to spend some time, if I'm not going to make any other changes, I don't like to make too many changes like I've mentioned before. So considering I don't want to make any changes to the performance of the car, might as well just focus on the aesthetics of it. So I'm going to work on sanding and buffing this, and I'll post a couple little updates as I go and let you know how it turns out. It's certainly a cheap paint job. They've painted over some of the trim and all that, and maybe I'll have to go over that with some kind of a trim paint at some point, but I'm gonna take it to make it look as good as I can before I start doing all the little detailing. I just wanna, if it's shiny like the front clip is coming out, that's good enough for this. Race car stuff, it don't need to be show winner. If I was not racing it regularly and beating on it all the time, then I'd probably think of it differently. But on this particular one, this is the way it's gonna be. So I'm gonna cut it off here, come back with some sanding done, and then we'll go from there. All right, we're gonna start with 1,000 grit. I have a piece that I've already kind of used a little bit, but it's pretty fresh. So we're gonna start with that, a little bit of water, and scuff the roof. I think that's where I'm gonna start. I'm gonna try to do like a panel at a time is what I've been doing. That way I'm not overwhelming myself, because that's one thing you'll find when you start painting cars, is that you can definitely overwhelm yourself, especially not as young as I used to be. So trying to get this stuff done, you gotta parcel it out a little bit. So I'll do a little time lapse on this, and we'll see how it goes. All right, we're gonna start out wool pad. Use this number 2 fine cut compound. I I don't mind using this for the first cut, or there's a 3M product that's the Finesse It. It's the rough cut. And then I usually use Finesse It too, but they didn't have it locally, so I'm gonna go ahead and use this, and then the number 7 glaze. I'm gonna stand on this cooler, so hopefully it won't fall into the car. Try not to put too much pressure. A 1 foot by 1 foot area, if you can see that at a time, so I don't run it too thin. I can kind of see at this point like how easy it's going to hit, what kind of pressure I'm going to have to do, if there's scratches, anything like that. So I try to do this initially and then go back over it, but I may have to do something a little different on standing. It's coming out pretty quick. Like I said, the metal goes a little faster than the fiberglass. I noticed that hood was taking a little while, but so I kind of do this, and after about the second or third time, I'll do what they call spurring off this wheel, getting the compound out of it. But I'm probably go over it again. This is where I like to finesse it because it's a little less harsh than this. And I can take out these little swirls with finesse and then go over with the glaze. But right now, these are the only 2 things I've got. I did it on the hood and the fender. It does work, but it just takes a bit more work, and it's harder to get the little swirl marks out without having a little finer compound. If I could get it just at a local parts store, would be great, but I have to run to the paint store and they're closed. Where I'll spur it off a little bit and go back over it. I try to stay away from these edges as much as I can, because you can burn through those, and you'll see the primer come through, or the sealer, whatever it happens to be. All right, so we got that up with the number 2. Went ahead and hit that. Got it. Can kind of see the light pretty clear in it, but you can still see a little bit. Now it's dirty. This is why I'm adding into this video real quick is what I like to do after. So what I've done is I've just basically sanded and buffed to here with just the number 2 right now. And the next step I like to do is to wash it and wash off this compound. Now, generally speaking, I probably wouldn't do just this little section. All right, everybody, we are back. Next day, battery died, so I just said forget it, I'm not going to record anymore right now, even though it's probably in the middle of doing something regarding to going to the next compound or whatever. I don't know, have to see it, what it looks like in the footage. But I went ahead, finished up the top last night, or half of the top. I didn't do the whole thing. That's the way I'm going to do this. Like I had said initially, maybe when I was young, I could just knock this thing out, no problem. But one thing about doing this stuff when you're older is you gotta do it in chunks. Otherwise, you just burn yourself out, and then you don't want to touch a car for a month. So right now, where we're at, I'll flip this around. Right now, where we're at is I got the roof. It's still, now it's all dusty because I've been buffing the rest of it, but some of it anyway. The roof. Half of the roof is done. I'll show the difference on that once I get it all cleaned up, and it's pretty visible. You might be able to see it from this angle, like how clear, even with the dust, how clear this side is versus that side has a lot of orange peel to it. I can see it with my naked eye. I'm not sure if you'll see it on here. Front fender is done, hood is done to this point. I'll probably come back over it with some finesse it or something. And then went in and sanded and buffed. Haven't done the second compound on the door. Probably gonna go back over the fender because all the stuff. But I went ahead and sanded the quarter panel and the door this morning, working on this now. Probably gonna finish it off today with just doing the trunk lid, the deck lid, and calling it a day. Save the other half of the roof and stuff for another time. I may just do half of the deck lid, that way half of the cars. Hey, go see what's over there. What is that? Go get it. Hush. Go get it. Go get it. Go find it. What is it? Go get it. There's some noisy over there. Go get it. Go get it. What's that noise over there? Go get it. Come here. Let's go see what is it. What is it? We got some animal or something over here making a bunch of noise on the side of the shop. Some bird probably making a lot of racket. Yeah, there's two little birds up there. He'll get it out of here, whatever it is. Well, back to our regularly scheduled program. They're woodpeckers. Sounds like they're tapping on the roof. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. As you can see, this is sanded. There's still a little orange peel there. Should probably hit out, but I'm not gonna get too carried away. Like I said, this is a race car. Just try to make it look a little better. That's about it. Don't really care. I'm not gonna put a lot into it, but sand this quarter panel out, buff this quarter panel out, and probably do the deck lid and then call it a day. And then I'll come back with you guys once I get to the next stage. I do put this tape sometimes. I'll put a tape after I've buffed one side, put a tape along this edge, so that way I can really get after this edge without hitting this one that's already done, because you can easily burn through the paint if you don't do that. So I'll do this sometimes especially if this edge is higher than this edge a little bit, because it's going to sit on this one more. So I'll go ahead and tape this off and then buff this side, pull the tape, and then hit with a small compound like the glazing, or even the finesse it with a foam pad. I don't worry about that too much, but on the heavier compound I tape that off. Same thing, I'll do that probably on the deck lid, and depending on, you know, the height of the panel versus the other. Obviously if it was a show car, they'd all be equal. Not a show car. So anyway, we'll keep going and I'll update you as we go. I was gonna try this time lapse thing, but I don't know how it's working, so I'll just do a little fast forward and you can watch this thing come back. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the trunk lid. I just got started on it, and I'll do this, and I'm gonna finish up with this and walk you through the whole process on that. You can just watch that. You can never mind the background noise. Try to cut it down. I'm going to stop it here, just to kind of give you an idea, but rather than waste all the battery and all the digital space, to show you, that's the first compound, that's still sanded. So I'll finish it up and we'll come back at you. Alright, just a quick finish to this. I don't know if this video is going to show it, but went ahead and sanded and buffed the trunk. Still needs to be waxed or something, but came out pretty nice actually. this across the top. Hopefully you can see. I know from this angle you can probably see how shiny it is on the left and how kind of hazy it is on the right. It's only sanded and buffed on the left hand side. And there's a little divot in the middle I'm gonna have to try to work out, I guess. But this side is not sanded and buffed yet. It still looks good, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly like this other side. The other side is real nice. So I feel like it came out pretty nice. I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up a little bit tomorrow, dry it off, and hit it with a little spray wax and put it back together as far as this part goes, and hopefully we'll be hitting the track tomorrow. So that's it for this video, and thank you all for watching.